32 H&R Magnum versus 38 Special, and what I have today is our Hornady critical defense ammunition. 32 H&R Mag, a lot of people are not familiar with it, but essentially someone took a 32 Smith & Wesson long years ago, I think in the mid 80s, and they made a Magnum version of it, which addressed some of the issues of the 32 Smith & Wesson long. So 32 H&R Mag, 80 grain FTX. I'm going to compare that to the 38 Special 110 grain standard pressure FTX through our snub nose barrels here. And the reason why I'm using standard pressure 38 Special is because it is roughly about the same energy as 32 H&R Mag through a snub nose. So interesting about this, I saw this ammo in stock and I picked up really quick, and then I realized after the fact that Lipsy's is coming out with a 32 H&R Magnum Revolver J-frame. Smith & Wesson used to make those, but they're making an improved version of that. So I think that's probably why that ammunition is coming out. I think that's called the 632, either UL or UC, something like that. But the 32 Smith & Wesson, or should I say the 32 H&R Magnum is a fantastic cartridge. I really like it. What's interesting about it is the energy numbers are roughly the same as 38 Special or even 380 ACP. But what you got is a cartridge that kind of addressed some of the fallbacks of the other ones. You know, 38 Special is often too slow to get expansion. You're speeding that up quite a bit with the lighter bolt with the 32 H&R Magnum. But it's actually a smaller diameter than 380 ACP, so you often get pretty good penetration that you might not get with 380 ACP. But what really sets it aside compared to a lot of other cartridges is the recoil, because the recoil makes no sense whatsoever. It's like shooting a 22 long rifle or a 22 Magnum. And when you shoot a 38 Special, it's got to be at least twice the felt recoil. So it is really kind of a fantastic cartridge. It is one of my favorites. I've hand loaded it quite a bit. I enjoy that cartridge. So we're going to test this stuff in a proper ballistic test and see what we get. So I'm going to go through the chronograph. We're going to see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. We're just going to go into plain clear ballistics to see what the best potential is of those cartridges are. And then after that, I'm going to do more of our real world simulation. We're going to have 4 layers of denim in this first 3-inch piece here of clear ballistics that represents our pectoral muscle. After that, we'll have a 1/4-inch medium density fiberboard that's going to represent our ribs of sternum into the block, and we'll see what that does in a more of a real world simulation. Some people ask why I do this, where I just go into plain gel, then I do that, because they think my rib simulation test is better. And the reason why is because a lot of people will do these tests with just plain clear ballistics. They won't do anything else. And then when people see my tests with only doing this, they'll be like, well, this person or that person got fantastic results. You're rigging that so you don't get good results. Well, I'm going to go into plain clear ballistics whenever I do these to match what other people are getting, so you can see, you know, that my real world test here is a pretty good test to see what we might get in more of a real world simulation, flesh and bone, stuff like that. So then after that, as always, I am going to shoot up my steel silhouette to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get with these. So let's get started with this test. Our 38 Special is rated at 1,010 feet per second. Our 32 H&R Mag is rated at 1,150 feet per second. That's typically through 4-inch barrels. So we'll see what we get through our snub nose 2-inch barrels here. So 38 Special here first. Let's see what we get here for velocity. 110 grain bullet. 869, 854, 901, 849, 868. So not terrible for velocity considering it's a 110 grain bullet. 32 H&R Mag. Let's see what we get here with our 85 grain bullet. 977. 922, 937, 919, 902. I was hoping for a little bit better velocity, but it is a little bit more than our 38 Special. The big takeaway here is that the recoil is quite a bit less. So let's hit our ballistics gel block with these and see how they compare. All right, plain clear ballistics. We'll see what our best potential is here. 38 Special. Let's see what we get with this. All right, let's hit that with our 32 H&R Magnum, see how this does. Go take a look. All right, so interesting there. 32 H&R Magnum and the 38 Special did expand. You know, very small expansion with both of those, just a little bit of expansion. That's kind of what you expect a lot of times with their critical defense. I do like the critical defense for cartridges that are a little bit weaker than others. They tend to just do a lot better job at opening up hollow points. Designed pretty well with the bullet weights and all of that. So the first 3 inches here, you may or may not be able to see that. It looks like our 32 H&R Mag maybe it did a little more damage than our 38 Special. And honestly, the entire track is a little bit more damage with our 32 H&R Magnum. Our 38 Special, very straight line here. Our total penetration path before the bullet sucked back a little bit is about 12 3/4. Now when we look at our 32 H&R Mag, our penetration is about 14 1/4 inches penetration. So I would say the 32 H&R Mag for penetration is a little more ideal. Also, I would say that the damage is a little bit better, which is interesting because I think if we did the math correctly, I think the 38 still probably had more energy than the 32. But let's put on our denim and our MDF and see how they compare in more of our real world simulation. All right, 38 Special. I'll try to go low here, get a better view of that track. See what this does. All right. Let's set that back up and then we'll hit with the 32 H&R Mag. All right, 32 H&R Mag. Let's see how this compares. Let's go take a look. All right, so that 32 H&R Mag drifted down a little bit, and despite what it might look like to you guys, it's not hitting the other bullet. I get that a lot of people say, you shot through the same path, as if this block is only 1 inch thick and not back that way, 3 inches away from this. But we'll take a look here at our MDF here, and it is apparent here that with our 38 Special we went in straight, and we started to tumble a bit here with our 32 H&R Mag. That is pretty typical for lighter bullets like that. They tend to kind of hit and start tumbling just because they dump a lot of their energy a lot quicker and just start using some of their steam. So with this, you know, we got a good amount of damage here. What's interesting is in the first 3 inches here, the 38 Special is just a perfect line, which would indicate that there's not any expansion. There's a lot of damage with our 32 H&R Mag, but I don't know if we have expansion or not because I can't see through that. But that could also be caused by immediate tumbling, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can cause a lot of damage. We definitely got tumbling after the MDF with that 38 Special right about here. And a good damage path here and damage track. We went to about 15.5 inches. That ain't bad. No expansion on that. Now, I can't see whether we got expansion here with our 32 H&R Mag, but a good amount of damage. I would say overall the 32 H&R Mag had a similar amount of damage in that gel path there, and we went to about the same as the 38 Special it did in plain gel, or about 12.5 inches of penetration, which is acceptable. So it's really hard to say right here by looking at this which one is better, but what I can say is they are pretty comparable to each other for what they're doing, and the 32 is doing it with quite a bit less felt recoil. And that's my next question here. If we have quite a bit less felt recoil, I know they're different revolvers, but they both have decent triggers to me. So can I put more accurate shots faster on target with the 32 H&R Mag? Let's find that out. So I'm going to shoot our steel after we take a close-up look at these bullets. All right, so here's a close-up look at these bullets here. Our 38 Special through our plain gel, and our 32 H&R Magnum through our plain gel. Obviously the 38 Special's bigger expansion because it's a bigger bullet. Look at our bases of those. Yeah, big difference in diameter. Not a huge difference. This is about, if I recall, 312. This is 357. So looking at a little bit more bullet diameter there. But both expanded about the same percentage above what they were to start with. which is good because for their mass, that means it's going to slow down at the appropriate rate. A lot of people will see, well, that's better no matter what. But if you got something that was like this weight, 85 grains, and that diameter, and you expanded it to that big, it would underpenetrate. So that's actually pretty good for what we're seeing here. Now here's where the big difference happens here. Here's our 38 special through our denim and our MDF. We did not get any hollow point expansion. I think part of that's just slowing the velocity down too slow after hitting that bone simulation. A 32 H&R Magnum though, not perfect, great expansion, but we have a lot of damage. It pulled out that that plug that prevents clogging at hollow point, and we have a pretty wicked pedal over here and some over here, so that's why it kind of tumbled. So I would say the diameter of this thing is bigger than that. So going through our more of our real world simulation, I would say our 32 H&R Magnum had just enough more velocity to do a little bit better. And just looking at these, you know, if you had this going by some very important artery, I'm sure you would rather have this slip by and kind of hit the side of it versus this. So in this regard here, I'm going to say our 32 versus a standard pressure 38 is a little bit better. Now if we went into plus P's with 38, you're getting about the same velocity, so you're going to get pretty much the same, you know, like I was talking here, percentage wise, you're going to get pretty close to the same expansion in both of these. But we're talking a standard pressure versus this 32 H&R Mag. It's a little bit better here. So that's a close-up look at these bullets. All right, I want to kind of feel the difference in felt recoil with these to see how quick I can make follow-up shots with these. By the way, one thing I didn't mention is the 32 H&R Mag or any 32 caliber revolver is basically always a 6-shot. These little J-frame type revolvers are always a 5-shot usually. So you get a capacity advantage with no more room really taking up any space on the cylinder. So I'm gonna line these up before I fire and get a nice center sight picture, and then just pull off 5 or 6 and see how they do for me. So 38 special. I'll fire as fast as I think I can hit the target. All right, not too bad. Now our 32 H&R Magnum. Let's see what this does for me. I'm going to try to land these as fast as I think I can once I start feeling what that recoil is like. And I missed one because I was a little bit overconfident with that recoil. I would say 25% less felt recoil, which, you know, when you're talking a standard pressure 38 special, that's not bad. It's pretty low. So I think, pull one over the top there, but I'd say pretty comparable. If I practice a little more with this, I could probably land 6 on target in the time I could land 5 on target with the 38. So let me back it up a little bit and keep shooting, just kind of see what the trajectory of these are. I get kind of curious about that stuff. So let's back it up a little bit. All right, 25 yards from the target. Just gonna slow fire, see how these do for me. 38 special. All right, pulled one a little bit to the left there. 32 H&R Magnum. When I go slow fire, you know, I feel a lot less chance of flinching with this versus the 38 special. You know, 38, it's not bad. I don't really flinch hard, but you just feel that little bit of, I know it's coming. I don't want it to because it hurts your hand just a little bit when it's cold out here. This thing is, you know, there's none of that with this. So back it up a little bit more. All right, 40 yards from the target. I just like to know the limitations of ammunition. It just, I enjoy knowing the stuff that's not necessarily practical. So 38 special from 40 yards. I think I hit the post below it. So I had to aim a little bit high on that silhouette. So let's see what this does. I'm just going to aim center with this. 32 H&R. Already a little bit better trajectory for me for making hits. Going back to 75 yards now, just for fun. I always like to repeat that, just for fun. I'm not training, getting it in a gunfight at 75 yards or trying to stop someone with a knife from 75 yards. I just like to know the limitations of the ammo, so let's back it up. All right, 75 yards from the target. Really just for fun for me. So I'll see what I can do with this. 38 special. Ooh. See myself kind of jerk that trigger a little bit. All right, so they're hitting above the target. So what we're seeing is that phenomenon where the muzzle will jump pretty high from recoil. And what happens is it'll shoot you around, lift it over top of the cartridge because the bullet actually hasn't fully left the muzzle by the time recoil is happening. So I'm going to aim basically below the target. Let's see if I can make any hits. I did absolutely awful with that. I couldn't get any feel of consistency of where those are going to hit. You know, the first few shots were over it, but when I aimed below the target, it seemed like they were hitting below the target. So 32 H&R Mag, I'll see if I can do anything different with this. All right, a little bit above the target, so I'm going to aim a little bit lower. All right, so that, you know, a lot of people say that's super difficult. For me, it's not super difficult. I can actually do that quite often, depending on the ammo. But oftentimes when you get ammo like this, where you're not really sure what's going to hit, it's going to take you 15, 20 rounds before you can dial that in. I'm out of ammo before I can dial that in. But it seemed like with that last impact there, I was aiming, you know, I aimed about 6 inches below where that impact actually happened. The 38 Special, I couldn't really dial that in at all. It just seemed like it was all over the place here. So I know the limitations of that ammo now. Plus P ammo out of that snub seems to really be able to hit that target quite a bit. But I think what's happening is standard pressure, once we get out there, the velocity is just so incredibly low. We're probably talking 500 to 600 feet per second. At that point, your bullet just kind of wobbles and does whatever it wants to do. And you can't really keep any consistency there. Our 32 H&R Magnum wasn't a whole lot faster. Could have been doing that too. But what I'm seeing overall, though, for our actual practical use of this ammo for self-defense is they were both pretty comparable. The accuracy is pretty comparable at normal distances. I missed one of the 32 H&Rs up close, but that was just all me. And I think I missed one of the 38s at 40 yards or 25, I can't remember. So our hit ratio at actual practical distances was about the same for me. The recoil is a little bit less with our 32 H&R Magnum. Our damage in the gel is very, very similar. A little more energy dump with our 32 H&R Mag versus our 38 Special. So if I look at everything as a whole here, it's really hard to say one's a lot better than the other here, but if I had to pick one of these, I'm going to say the 32 H&R Mag versus a standard pressure 38 Special has a little bit more going for it. You got less recoil, not a lot less, but less recoil, and that's always something. You have a higher capacity, and I would say a little more damage going on versus a standard pressure because you got a little bit more velocity. So honestly, not anything bad about the 32 H&R Magnum. A pretty good cartridge overall, I would say. Not a ton better than the 38 Special, but a little bit better. You have more things going for you with that. So I would say very good cartridge overall. And Critical Defense 32 H&R Mag, not bad. We didn't get over penetration. We got good damage. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like. And thanks for watching.